I'm Kathy Deach, and we have a lit show. I'm sorry, I just had to tell everybody on my personal Facebook page what is happening here. I'm so excited. There's so much blowing up that's happening that this first segment is going to be so ridiculous. I can't wait to talk to everybody. So, we have the lovely Nikki Bailey back co-hosting. Hi, Miss Nikki.
Hey, girl, hi.
How are you?
Girl, you know I'm all right over here trying to get my COVID quarantine on, but I'm doing it. I am so excited about the show today.
I know. You're a damn quarantine cutie right now. I mean, I don't know who you think you are, but your jewel tone and your afro puff with your little animal print behind you. I mean,
I likes to keep it, cute.
Yeah, you got a cute little corner there. And if anyone needed to wonder what you were about, that is you're totally serving it all up. We all know.
Here's what I think. This is my visual brand is JoJo Siwa meets Angela Davis. That's what I'm going for. Stop. I'm just saying, look, I'm going to tilt up so you can see the rest of my setup. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, a top hat. She's ready to do chorus line, guys.
I'm just saying.
Singular. She's ready. If you're listening to this on podcast and not watching the YouTube or the Facebook or wherever we got this thing going, you guys miss out on the visuals is all I'm telling you, because this is fantastic. So Nikki literally I wouldn't really call it harassment. Maybe 3 more texts and it would have been harassment. But she was like, if you're having hashtag booked on, I really please need to be there.
I'm like, first I'm trying to be cool about it. I'm like, no press, whatever. If you have, if you're up for it. And then I'm like, no, seriously, I want to be on. Can I?
Oh, yes. Yeah. These two ladies, if you don't know hashtag booked, I mean, I was harassing you to go and look on their Instagram, where it's just chock full of goodness for this time of
delicious
COVID.
Funniness and black girl magic for days.
It's so good. I had the pleasure of talking to Danielle, 2 seasons ago now, which is bananas to me that was that long. But she's back killing the game, and she brought with her other half. I want to make sure I get this right. LaNisa, Renee, Frederick, who are the ladies of hashtag booked. Hello.
Hey.
Everyone is so damn cute. Y'all, you need to get with the visuals is all I'm saying. Because
if you're not watching plus this, you're not getting the full thing.
You're not. You can listen, but you really, your eyeballs need the love. Your eyeballs need the love that's being served here. I am so happy y'all are, first of all, already, you already were doing it. And then now that COVID's happening, you're like, oh, it's just we're just leveling up. I just feel like you guys are doing COVID levels up. The new video you posted took me out. And you just got nominated for a Webby. That is the coolest thing. Congratulations. So you've been hustling in this town of LA. How long has that been going on for? When did y'all get here? We know a little bit of Danielle's story because she came via Chicago, but then New York, but then with her one-woman show. But what is y'all's connection? How did you guys get connected?
Well, we met in Chicago, actually. And we met at the Goodman Theater, where we were both playing understudies. We were playing maids. And we were...
Oh, my God.
We were subjected to a basement life for 8 weeks, something like that. Because with being an understudy, part of that responsibility includes being there the entire time. So we were literally there from sun up, sundown, from our character saying their first line to the last line. So Danielle and I, we met and meshed real quick because we're like, well, we in here together. I guess Yes, this is it. So yeah, that's how we ended up meeting. And I always joke, I think it's so funny that, I'm very Midwest. I'm very hi guys, let's hug. I love you. And I meet Danielle and I'm like, hello, how are you? And she's like, yo, here's my business card. My name is Danielle Pinnock. How are you today? And it always
business, all business.
She was ready. And I'm like, hello, but can I hug you, please? And she's like, but here's my card. And
little did we know we would be business partners.
But I think it's that energy that makes us mesh well. The fact, those two different dynamics, it definitely makes us mesh well. So I actually am celebrating this week. I haven't even gotten a chance to post it or it's been so much going on that this is my 3-year LaVersary. LAversary, whatever you want to call it.
Mazel.
Yes, I made it 3 years.
You done did it.
I did it. And Danielle, you're about to hit 4, right?
4 in August. Yep. Got a little, basically a kindergarten. Kindergarten versary in August. So listen, we are here and we are chilling in this pandemic right now, just trying to stay alive and keep y'all laughing and bring so much joy to your lives with this #book page. So thank y'all so much for having us on the show. We're so grateful.
Absolutely.
Oh, so happy. I need to know
100% fulfilling that goal because you stay having me rolling and going back and looking at stuff over and over again, just constantly. I love you all.
Yay.
I wanted to ask Danielle about that year in between. So there's like a year difference. Were you harassing LaNisa the whole time and being like, girl, just come out here? The sunshine's amazing. Just
always. That is my MO in the friendship. I'm like, you need to move. And she's like, Danielle, I just booked a show. I'm like, cool. After the show, I was like, I'm looking at apartments. You can live right on the same street. She's like, Danielle.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
I don't even think we talked about that, but that is so true. It was like that in that year, I'm like, yo, but okay, fine. After that show's done, then you'll come out. And we actually, my first apartment was what? 4 blocks from you?
Yeah, it was like 4 blocks.
Oh, amazing.
I love that.
That's an LA miracle.
Listen, it really is.
Because
it really
if
is.
Nikki lived in our neighborhood, and I say our because the girls of Fatch, there are 3 of us that live within 6 minutes of each other. If we got Nikki to come on down, it would be over.
I can't mess with your neighborhood though. It's too noisy and
it is. That's very true.
That's real.
That is very true. I have a new thing that my first TikTok is people say there is no time in quarantine. And I say, oh, but there is. I'm like, there's dog o'clock when the dogs start barking. There is motorcycle gang o'clock when the motorcycles all rev up. There's car alarm o'clock. So I have all of the, and there's actually one more, a helicopter o'clock. One sounded like it was going to be I was the helipad is what it sounded like. It was crazy. Yes. So Nikki, you wouldn't do well. You already have noise canceling headphones. Do you want to talk to people about that or would you rather?
I had to. You know what? I live in a big, beautiful Craftsman in Pasadena.
Yes.
And I, with my partner and 3 other people, it's big, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. We all love each other. But everybody breathe too loud and chew too loud, and they just be always around. And I'm like, could you stop being a person who makes no? I had to get some noise canceling headphones because they kept chewing, and I couldn't do it.
They kept living. They kept living. Why?
I'm just saying, all the air y'all keep breathing in with all that noise, I can't do it. I had to get some noise canceling headphones. I had to do it.
And then didn't they also get them? So all of you were having noise canceling headphones.
Basically, everyone in the house bought a new set of headphones during quarantine.
Y'all could be brand ambassadors.
Exactly.
I'm here for it.
Exactly.
We need to shoot that commercial, Nikki.
For real.
That's real. That's especially right now, people with roommates.
Yeah.
In relationships, you need to be able to tune your partner out if you need to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's
highly
really
recommend
helpful
it.
is gardening. I actually just bought some soil from Home Depot and some seeds. So even getting out to just garden for an hour, 2 hours right in my little area has been really cute. Real cute for the cut up.
Yeah. Therapeutic.
Really therapeutic for real.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it is. Everybody has their own little thing. Mine has been lying like a slug.
Listen, and I am here for it. Are you watching any shows? What shows are you watching?
Yeah.
I do. What was I watching? I've been watching a lot of
MSNBC.
That's true.
On
That's true. I do love my ladies of MSNBC.
I love it.
I do. I do.
Rachel.
But I do love my Rachel. I love my Nicole Wallace. Yes, I get into them for sure. But I don't know. I'm having trouble. And let me ask you guys if you're having trouble. I really just want comedy. I try to get into these dramas or whatever, their romance things. I'm like, why am I alone? Because I'm alone and I have no kids with me. And I'm like, I'm by myself. No one's going to be my lover. What the fuck? I got to get out. Like, I literally get mad. Like, Outlander. This one loves Outlander, Nikki. And I'm like, I was out because I was depressed. I was like, I'm depressed. There's no time travel for me right now. And I'm by myself. So I've been doing comedy things and like, so please, so everyone release a stand-up thing. Like, I need Nikki, make one. Come on, I need it.
Right? This is the perfect time for me to drop my stand-up special.
It really is. I mean, I feel like I've been watching hidden gems of comedians because this is true. It didn't click into now how much I needed comedy. Because I'm trying to develop a horror film and I'm writing it like, this don't feel right. I'm not in that energy right now. I just feel wrong. I just want to laugh. So comedy specials, everything on Netflix. I'm like, oh, he got one. Oh, she got one. Bet, watching it.
Yes.
Because we need that right now. We need that energy.
Yes, I've been definitely down with like Fortune Feimster and John Mulaney and all of them. LaNisa though, but if you write a good, funny horror movie, that's the sweet spot for me. I love a horror movie that does not take itself seriously, and that is like jackassery. Like, I love it when they make fun of themselves.
It might turn into a different direction based on the times that we're in.
Yeah.
Based on where we are now. It might go in a different direction.
You know what? I am very much looking forward to a horror film made by a Black woman. Because first of all, it feels like it's going to be real short because we don't fucks with none of that. We just
everyone lives.
We don't investigate and stuff. We just be like, bam, I'm out.
Right.
So is the movie basically just Black women going, y'all better come on?
It's the shortest horror movie of all time.
That would be
That's
amazing.
actually a great series right there.
Actually, I know. I'm like, let me write that down. It's actually based on my time where I worked as an overnight English teacher. So I was teaching English to people all over the world from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So those are my work hours.
Wow.
And that brought up a lot of horror. That was a lot of horror. So I was like, oh, this is a movie. What am I doing with my life? So yes, but I like this idea you got.
Get the point, Nikki. Get the point. Get the point.
I hear it.
I love that we're talking about like what's kind of calling you to write or what things do you feel like you want to write right now. I just want to talk about the impact you guys have had on opening up conversations about what it's like for African American actors in LA. It's you're doing this amazing job while on one hand completely entertaining us and making us cry laughing. You're also giving us a window into like real problematic shit. And I was wondering, has anyone like really thanked you or asked you to talk further about things? Like, have your representatives been like, you have to tell me about this thing that happened to you? Like, you know, has any of that stuff gone down?
Yeah. I was like, who's gonna go first? I would say, you know, the biggest thing I think that is the most satisfying running the page is to see the DMs and the comments from people saying, this is my story. Oh my gosh, you guys hit the nail on the head. And to have now an audience of, you know, over 20,000 that are saying the same thing makes us also feel like we're not going crazy. Because I feel like a lot of the times with Blackstresses and other women of color and, you know, men of color, we were used to these silent microaggressions. Then we would trade these secrets, like literally the Underground Railroad, for centuries. I mean, for decades. I mean, let's go back to Hattie McDaniel. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I always wonder, I'm like, gosh, what was her hair and makeup trailer like? Hello. Who was on set doing Hattie McDaniel's hair and makeup?
Listen, right. I'm watching reruns. This is what I have been doing. I've been staying up in the middle of the night and watching reruns of NYPD Blue from like 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. That's actually the truth of what I've been doing. And I will say it's in season 1 and it has that really great actor. And I'm so sorry I'm not remembering his name because I have COVID brain. He is like the captain of the squad and he is a gorgeous dark-skinned black man. And there was one episode that it was clear that the regular makeup lady got sick and I mean guys, like crazy, like ashy crazy on a man. Like I cannot believe what we have done and like really like with the Ava DuVernays and the people she hires and the, you know, Key and Peele and who they hire to get the cinematography right. I feel like, you know, the same way with beautiful Insecure is also like unbelievable work being done. But yeah, like that. So like Atlanta. Even just looking back, that wasn't that long ago, guys. Like what was it like for Hattie McDaniel? If that gentleman,
very recent history.
Yeah, that's very recent history.
We've all experienced it, so it's definitely it's still not over, which is the scary part. It's still not.
And you can't count on there being someone on set to do your hair and makeup because even though we've made strides, you just can't count on it because you don't know. So you still bring your full suitcase of wardrobe for the plus size girls and your hair stuff and your makeup stuff just in case.
Oh yeah. And then when we get a pleasant surprise on set, it's like it's a relief and it's weird because then I'm able to, it makes me realize how much I have to take away from my craft to make sure that I'm right in so many other aspects. Like I would love to go on set and just worry about a line. I would love to go on set and just worry about like the objective, but instead I'm getting up at 4 a.m. to pack, to get my hair supplies, to get my bra, because ain't nobody ever got a bra that fits me right. So getting all that stuff ready where we don't have the privilege, honestly, to really just be. It
is, I mean, everything you just said, that is so true. It's like, we often talk about the marginalized being really superior at their jobs because it isn't just that you have to be hella talented. It's that you have to be hella talented on top of. So the people you see who are marginalized, who actually are on the screen, everyone at home, they really are extraordinary. I am with extraordinary women right now. They're unbelievable because you're right. You're negotiating. So do you feel like, has anyone hired you because of the show and been like, oh yeah, remember that time? Yeah, has anyone copped to their bad behavior? I'm very curious about how people are taking this because I want to point at people and just be like, see, this is a problem. See, so I mean, have you felt any immediate things get better?
Have I felt any immediate things? Have we felt any immediate things get better? I think, honestly, the conversation. I think just the conversation of such, and maybe Danielle, you would say that as well, just the fact that people are talking more and there's less of a stigma to talk about it. I think, too, like, I am just a smidge older than Danielle in my old age. And I think back to when, like, if you talked about stuff in a certain way, especially from the training and the history I come from with my work, like, you are blacklisted.
Mm-hmm.
You were blacklisted. You just better be happy. Better be just smile and have a good day. So I think the conversation, and there's less of a stigma to actually talk about it, which I think I'm very proud of. I think we're both very proud of the fact that we're opening that conversation. If somebody want to come for us, like, these are the facts though. We have the receipts with regards to the fact that you didn't have makeup for me, or you didn't have clothes that fit me, or I got on set and you wanted to put Aquanet in my hair, in my fro, which actually did happen. It was like, no, it's not happening. So I think the biggest thing has been the opening up of a conversation, which is great. That's where we have to go.
Yeah, and I think with comedy, those conversations can happen, and we handle it with such love and care that nobody ever feels ostracized. But it is like, oh, that was so funny. Wow, they went for the one black handmaid. Wait. And then it's that light bulb that goes up where they're like, oh, maybe we should have it be more diverse. You know? So we're just here for these light bulb moments to see, you know, just as a reflection of the industry, like y'all see yourselves in this mirror. #book is just a mirror, just to show y'all what's been happening and what's currently going on.
And also, there's no fat people in Handmaid's Tale. Like, fat people haven't been giving birth like crazy forever.
And I'm like, are they all in Canada, y'all? Where are the fat
like I don't have a whole line of people who are big boned, big hipped that didn't give birth to 10, 12, 14 kids. Like, are you kidding?
What happened?
Come on now.
One of the things that I love that you all do is you ask questions for actors, and you ask us to send our stories, and then you show them in your story on Instagram. And one of the things that has helped me feel so like a part of the community, like that has made me feel like I am so a part of this, because I'm like, not only am I'm not the only person who's having people try to mix mascara and their light colored foundation, but I'm also like not the only person who's been asked to sound more urban, and who, you know, like and it makes me feel like, oh, okay, so we're all getting this. It's not just me that's getting this crap. Yeah, okay, good, thank you. And the diversity of those responses, like the different shades of colors, the different ethnicities of people who respond to those questions you asked, is amazing. And such, talk about receipts. You got like a documentary's worth of
Netflix, call us.
Right? Hello. We ready.
Exactly. Well, I want to get into more hot topics with you. There is something, another friend of the show who is celebrating something. We're going to take a quick break and then talk about that with Plus This. Just after show. Hopefully we have 10 people. 10 people giving $5 on the Patreon. If 10 people give $5 a month, we could do a whole season without getting money from people we don't trust. Isn't that nice? Guys, I'm literally trying to pimp myself to dating apps to try to get us money. Ooh. I'm scared. Don't make me do that. Ooh. Just give us $5. I am really glad we made that jingle. Do you hear me? Jingle about Patreon. But by the way, I'm not pimping myself out to any plus size dating app. Just FYI. I put a squash to that plan. But still, if we had like 10 people give $5 a month, I literally wouldn't have to pimp myself out to anybody. Although I'm available in some levels of pimpage. I'll just tell you that right now. But okay, so
you might need to,
I could do a little song. I could do some. So a friend of the show, Michael R. Jackson, just won a Pulitzer Prize for his musical A Strange Loop. Yes, holla at you, Michael. We love you. And he is the first writer of a show that was not a Broadway show that won for drama.
Sure did.
Beautiful.
Such a huge thing. And for those of you who aren't familiar, go out and get the soundtrack. Every song is like a bop until you get to one that like crushes your soul. Like the words are unbelievable. The music is so rich and intense, and yet still a bop, which is like one of the hardest things to do. And just to give you some
honest.
So honest.
That's how
yes.
Probably my favorite.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Hilarious.
The truth just comes out. Yeah, so Inner White Girl, Exile in Gayville, Writing a Gospel Play. These are some of the titles of his songs. And one of the songs is Tyler Perry Writes Real Life. And I want to give people who aren't familiar a little premise of this story, because this story is unbelievable to me, and I need to kiki with all of you about it. So Michael R. Jackson has this show, and his name is Michael Jackson, and his handle is The Living Michael Jackson, and he's created this character in a strange loop called Usher, who's named Usher, and he is a writer, and one of the first things that his agent comes to him with is, Tyler Perry is so busy, could you write a gospel play? He's having people ghostwrite. Just write a gospel play. And there's a whole song about how he is very much at odds with that idea. And my favorite part is that these ancestors come out and start reading him for filth. And some of the lines are, because Tyler Perry writes real life. Tyler Perry writes real life. He writes stories we can swallow like Popeye's chicken and biscuits. He writes stories we can follow like we follow the drinking gourd. He writes stories about fat black women with weaves finding love and redemption, with muscle-bound black men who own their own business and truly love the Lord. I mean, it is amazing. So then cut to he wins a Pulitzer Prize. And he gets a DM from Tyler Perry, who is like, yes, King, I hope to see you on the streets of New York. and Michael's like, eh. And it's kind of like, do you think he really knows? Does he think he knows what the show's about, though? And Tyler Perry screenshot that song from his Spotify to Michael. So, like, he knows all the tea. That is... I just think that's the best story I've ever heard in my life.
Phenomenal. It is so iconic.
Go on.
We're living in the moment. Like, they gonna look back at this. That's why I'm like, oh my God, this is happening in real time, y'all.
Ooh. Okay, but what if what Tyler Perry was really saying was, I can't wait to run into you in the streets of New York.
It was all, you know what I mean? Like, Tyler Perry is so used to black people clowning him and, you know, poking fun at him. I mean, the most iconic one was Spike Lee many moons ago. And Spike Lee now has a sound stage named after him on Tyler Perry studio.
Right. Word.
So clearly this man is able to squash stuff, and he won a Pulitzer. I mean, black people are always still going to be proud of black people regardless.
Right. I feel like no matter what, we still got each other's back. Like, all right, I see you. Okay.
Right.
I think that too. And what I love is that he really uses this, you know, he uses the Tyler Perry gospel play as a device to tell a lot of truths in the show, later on in the show. So, you know, I think Tyler is you're totally right, is in on the joke. I think that I definitely could also imagine being like spooked to my gourd.
I would have been shook.
Shook. Just
Absolutely.
spooked. Just like, and I love that he made that all on his Instagram for all of us to enjoy, because he could have kept that. He could have kept that inner circle. He could have hit close friends on Instagram stories. He didn't. He really let us all in on that moment. Let's talk about you're both theater girls, so let's talk about theater. What do you think is happening? What do you think is going on? How do you think we're going to come back from this?
We're going to come back. And it's going to come back with a vengeance too. Like, people are prepping now. So when we get ready and we're ready to get on these stages, it's about to go off. One of my other side hustles, because you know I got like 12 side hustles.
Yes, I do. Yes.
I work as an adjunct professor, and I had someone come in who I said, hey, my kids would love to hear inspirational stories from Broadway stars. I put it out there on #book, and blessings that so many people came through. And just to hear these stories were, one, inspirational, and two, made me realize like, oh, we're going to be fine. And y'all ready. You know, y'all are ready to get back on this stage. I had somebody that was on Broadway on The Crucible. I had somebody from Motown. So all these people, we're ready. Our craft is not going away. Our training is not going away. We're ready. It's just the question of when. And we're patient because look, we used to being rejected. We used to like waiting. We're used to this stuff. So
we have a culture of waiting. Yes.
And I also think this is an opportunity for the unions to really come together, specifically if we're talking theater actors equity, to make sure that when we do come back, we're safe. Because I think that's the biggest thing is, okay, what is an audience house going to look like? Is it is it going to be one middle seat free, another middle seat? Like, how is that going to happen when we're talking about intimacy scenes and stage choreography? Like, what are those steps that the union is going to take to make sure that we are protected when we get back on those stages, as well as the audiences? I think that's probably the main thing. Like, we're going to come back, we're going to be fierce, but it is going to change the face of the industry and how we operate.
I agree with you.
I mean, it's the facts.
I agree with you. And, you know, I got to watch last night, because I'm crazy. There was a Facebook stream that the candidates under the fair wage branch of equity, they're having their elections. And I was listening to Kate Schindel, our president of Equity, talk, and she said, like, so many people are worried about houses. She's like, I am worried about backstage.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, how do you partner someone without being worried about this? How do you make out with someone without having to, you know, that's part of our jobs.
And all the crew.
And I also,
that's back there.
Yeah, I also heard that a lot of theaters are doing they're interested in one-person performances. Yeah. So I know you got one, Danielle. I'm working on mine. I'm ready to go.
We could duet.
Yes, we could duet. We could do every other night. Yes, I think that that is going to have to be something that comes back. I heard that singing is like the furthest way to spray your spit. Mm-hmm. So I think that we really have to be careful how far back the audience goes. I know I've been spit on things. The guy, one of the guys who was on the stream last night was in the Play That Goes Wrong, and he said literally the first 5 minutes of the play is us having spitting on each other jokes. He's like, okay, so yes, we get to a place where even if everybody does have the vaccine, say we don't get open until the vaccine, he's like, how is the audience going to react to that? Is that no longer funny? And I'm like,
we have this PTSD when it comes to, you know, crowds. There's a weird PTSD. So how are we going to react to that? And yes, to Danielle's point as well, like, how are we going to protect each other in the industry? Especially, you know, we're not people that are making millions and millions. We have to be the ones that look out for ourselves and make sure that, like you said, Danielle, our union looks out for us, because they be wanting to put us in situations that we're like, no.
And our non-union actors too.
Hello?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I think that's the thing that makes me afraid the most at the world after COVID is what is going to be happening to these young artists who come out of school or they move to the big city and they have these huge dreams and they're getting paid $400 or $200 or in a pizza to be seen. Because we've all been in these shady kind of situations. Yeah. And what's going to happen for them, because there's no union behind them to protect them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that's also for TV as well. Because there are some states now that are opening up and production will start back up again and things like that. And I just want to make sure that the people that are the most impressionable, that really want to get out there and they just want to, you know, get the credits and do all that stuff, that they don't feel the stress to risk their lives over a credit.
Right. But unfortunately, I feel like with some of these, I've seen some of the castings and some of the breakdowns lately. And honestly, some of them I'm like, I ain't doing that. You got me up. But my students.
Right. And that's what
they might, because they're hungry.
Yeah. Go to Texas for $125 a day. Yeah. That's something that says that it's SAG eligible. Mm-hmm. I put that in air quotes.
And they're, you know, the Producers Guild released some guidelines about, you know, how many people can be on set, and so now even shooting a scene is going to take so much longer than it would have taken before, which means the production costs are going to be so much higher. So they're going to be definitely looking for non-union actors that they can pay in pizza and sandwiches. And so you're so right, because, you know, the non-union folks are not going to say no if there's the possibility that I can get something for my reel, or I can get, you know, if I can get SAG eligible. So yeah,
it's a dicey situation. I personally feel like this moment lets us be the strongest we've ever been, because we know where everybody is and we really know that if we all stick together and are at home, we can connect to people and be like, hey, let's decide we're not going to do this unless it's like this for everybody.
Right.
And I feel like, especially on Broadway, we should be asking for things like more sick pay. There's not enough sick pay. Also, we need to stop doing 8 shows a week. Like, have 8 shows a week, but we rotate 6 shows a week.
Yes.
Why isn't that something that people, like, we really could be getting, like, blue sky, like the sky's the limit things if we organize. So, and also I think it's interesting, the theater community is much more in touch with its marquee performers. Like the 1% of the highest earners in Broadway, I feel like are much more attainable. And so theater, I feel like we might be able to get there. SAG, it's like they like to keep those, they keep them like they keep them in
a divide. There is
Yeah.
a clear divide, and that's why it's so important to be a collective unit, to be a collective voice. Because if not, we in danger.
Yes.
We in danger.
Yes.
So we have to be a collective voice.
And what's it worth?
I've
to
actually
take that
already
chance?
heard from some friends who are in production and in post-production that their companies aren't starting to shoot anything because talent is saying not until you can assure us of some safety.
Well, thank God.
And
for
so, like because the production guys are like, we need to come back to work, but the talent is like, great, but how are we going to do that in a way that keeps us safe?
Yes. Yes. How about that? By the way, our thing is blowing up and our feed. So I'm going to take another break. We're going to talk about something a little bit more serious, but I think is really important. And I love each of your voices, and I feel like you're going to voice things for people so they actually hear in like a whole other way. So I'm getting deep before my time. Let me take another break and we'll come back with Plus This after.
Happy Beach, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm by myself. I look like a ghost. I'm really not. I already am a very fair person, but being inside all the time has made me kind of transparent. We could probably white balance this whole shoot off of my forehead.
So that's what we're doing with Fatch. We're going to do a silly show called The Fat. And
you got the view, you got the talk, you got the real. Now you got the fat.
you got the fat.
I'm ready.
And it's just us clowning and hanging out, and we want you guys to hang out with us.
Oh, yeah.
We have a list of
tuned in.
topics for Tuesday you do not want to miss because they're gonna be stupid. So something that we have talked about before, especially here on this show, I had a woman, Christy Harrison, on who was talking about how people just are being mistreated in this COVID crisis, especially people of size and especially people of color. And I know that's like a real fear. That's why I think to fight for safety has to be for the person who is the numbers are the most against. Like if that person doesn't feel safe, then none of us get to go back. There was this incredible story. I read it on Twitter. I know I'm on MSNBC. I'm on Twitter, and I watch NYPD Blue. So, but I find out a lot on Twitter, guys. I have an incredible feed. I'm just the smartest people show up and just tell us stuff. There's a woman, Carla. I'm sorry, I'm going to be reading a little bit because I want to make sure I get it correct. Carla Monteroso. I'm sure I said that wrong. She is the CEO of Code 2040, which already takes care of representation of Black and Latinx folks in the tech world. And she's already her own organizer and incredible human who fights for rights. And she got COVID. She's Latinx herself and plus size. And she had to get herself out of the hospital herself on her own to get to a hospital that she felt like a doctor would take her seriously, because these people were not taking her seriously. Two of her tweets say, early in the process, I had heard all the microaggressions when I was struggling to put my words together, asking if I spoke Spanish derisively. How do you say that word? I'm embarrassed. By the way, I can't even say it. And she like had a lack of oxygen, and that's why she was sort of mumbly at this moment. But I can't even say it.
Exactly.
I was asked multiple times if it was diabetes. I told them to check my blood sugar, that I had never even been pre-diabetic. And then she said I was talked down to as if I couldn't understand what was happening. I had to assert several times that I was a weightlifter, a CEO, a tia, a human, and I hated it. I would never use those things as a way to demonstrate I had value. So this escalated. They were saying that, you know, she was aggressive, and she had 3 different doctors that she knew that looked at her charts and were like, you got to get out of there if they're not doing A, B, and C. And this doctor would not transfer her because his ego was in the way. And she checked out of the hospital herself and walked into the ambulance from the hospital she wanted to go to without the hospital taking care of that. I mean, if she don't sue them for every damn penny she has, I don't know what. But so this like made it. And listen, this is not. She wrote many tweets, and she said she didn't want to. You know, it was very hard for her. It was hard for her to be that vulnerable, which is why we should thank her. I'm thanking her. I don't think people are believing people. There was a nurse in, I believe, in New York who was saying all of these things that doctors were not doing. She's like, I'm the one with the patient the most, and I'm seeing this pattern happen. And you, because this man is Black, because this man is overweight, you're not listening to him. And so she was actively talking about her. So these people are like these little heroes, but mainstream media is not covering this. And how do we break that? Like, I want to celebrate everybody getting better too, but at the but this is unacceptable. It's the Alameda Hospital. She's in Northern California. I want to put them on notice. I want them on notice. So I was just wondering, like, if you guys want to share anything about your own fears. Nikki has already, for sure, with me, and just like, I'm not going nowhere. I don't want this, because I know that as a fat person, they're not going to take me seriously. If the eye doctor thinks that I have a diabetes problem from something that I could have gotten from conjunctivitis, I know a hospital is not going to take me seriously. So I was wondering if you guys felt comfortable enough to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, just how there is systematic racism in this country. There's extreme amounts of systematic racism in our medical system as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about the Tuskegee experiment and things like Henrietta Lacks, that was in our very recent history. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it.
And there was a series about it too, I think, right?
No, literally, just Google it. If you think about Black women who are pregnant, 3 out of 4 pass away. Do you know what I mean? Or have complications. And why is that? Even in the Serena Williams documentary, when she was saying, I think there's something wrong with me. This is an Olympian. They weren't trying to take her seriously. So we see this time and time again with Black and brown people and other people of color, where it's like, we're not the main concern for some reason. And I always go back to this. LaNisa and I, we were both standardized patients, and that was one of our side hustles when we were in Chicago.
Incredible.
Shout out to Northwestern.
Yes.
USC.
And we would have to, as actors, it was a whole ton of actors, and it was a diverse group of actors, and we would always have to be patients for the medical students to kind of practice and ask questions. And for some reason, every Black, brown, and everything in between, we'd always get diabetes, food desert, like all of these kind of really crazy things and then to see how these medical students would respond to us. This is what they're being taught in school.
Right. And the purpose was to teach them empathy. And I remember one of the ones that still actually stays with me was because we're given scenarios, and in this scenario, this woman was in a violent relationship with her partner, and she was thinking about suicide. But the practice doctor I had would never ask me that. And that was the goal of it. And the only thing that he would say is like, all right, well, are you working out? All right, well, do you have a job? All right, would never get to the base root of it. And I'm sitting up here. It was also hard, and I have to give respect to both of these institutions we work for, that they would give us a timeout afterwards, because after that energy, after receiving that, you're like, these are people that are about to go into a hospital.
Right. Right.
And you won't even get to the root cause. It is so obvious to me, and you have no empathy in that. And so it just showed there. I mean, I'm grateful for that experience, because it was another reminder. And it also reminded me too, like, in all these situations, similar to what you talked about with, with #booked and like our experiences, sometimes we feel like we're alone and that we're going crazy. And I'm very grateful for Sis that put her whole story out there. Like, this is what's going on. And it's hard. It's hard to put our story out there, because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to be seen as X, Y, and Z. And it's hard to put our story out there. So it's a blessing that she has also that platform. Yeah. To do so.
And she acknowledged that from head to toe in this. She was like, I am privileged. I have doctor friends to call. You know what I mean? She was like, I am the best bet. I am a CEO. And this is how I'm being treated because of my size and the color of my skin.
Absolutely.
So imagine you are someone who is none of those things. You're someone who is working at a taco stand. I worry about my taco stand around the corner from me in my neighborhood. They've been open the whole time. I hope they're okay. I don't even want to think about what the hospital is like for them. I don't even want to. I feel just in pain over it. So what do we need? Do we need advocates in the hospital as well? Like, not just the nurses who are worried about lives. Like, do we need patient advocates? Do we need people to say, this person is trying to communicate this to you and you're not listening to them?
It's almost like a new profession, right? You need like an empathy worker with the doctors as you go along. One of the things that I worked with also nurses doing standardized patient work. And so many times they'd come in and they'd never ask my name. Yeah. They would never. And at the end, I would give them feedback and they're like, great, I solved your problem. You're fine. I'm like, you never asked who I was. That's one-on-one. So there needs to be these advocates. There needs to be, I don't know, empathy. Maybe we created a new profession, empathy hospital workers.
They do. They have medical doulas now that will come with you to your appointment. That is a real profession. Just like how you would have a birth doula or a grief doula, they have these medical doulas that are coming in and advocating for people right now. A friend of mine in New York is one of those people. And honestly, I would have to say is because this is so much more highlighted in the medical profession right now, because we are going through a global pandemic. So the assumption is that everyone will be taken care of. But now you're seeing segregation on a whole nother level and a whole nother path. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, it's unfair, and I feel like we're caught in this rock and a hard place, because it's like, even politically, it's like, I just don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable going into a doctor's office right now and hopefully getting the care that I need to get. These are just the facts. I don't feel confident with that. And I think a lot of people, even just from the Caribbean standpoint, because my whole family is Jamaican, they already were never going into the doctor's office. They were going to fix it with Vicks.
Yes.
And cod liver oil.
Yes. Yes.
They were going to put socks on their feet, rub their feet with oil. So it's like, I also think about those communities as well, where it's like, y'all know that something is wrong. Like, an uncle of mine just had COVID recently, and like, it was a force to get him to even get into the doctor's office. Mm-hmm. And like, already I've gone to 3 Zoom funerals. I think people are thinking this is like for play, and it is so serious.
It's very serious.
It's so serious. So yes, as LaNisas said, medical advocates, we need more doulas coming in. That needs to be a profession on its own.
I'm going to Google that as soon as we're done. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to suggest people that they could do that.
It's definitely needed. I have a lovely niece who's adorable, and she's 1 now. But I remember the panic, Danielle can attest to this. Like, oh my God, is she gonna be okay in the hospital? Because I didn't trust these doctors, and I was real lucky that a high school friend, shout out to Kelly, went to high school with her. She's a nurse. She texted me and was like, hey, I think I'm the nurse for your sister-in-law. And I said, thank you, because I knew that I had someone that I could trust in that room.
Right.
I knew there was a voice.
I also record my doctors, and I tell them beforehand, because I'm like, I don't want no issues in here. Because there are so many times I've had to advocate for myself, especially being a fat Black person. And they're like, the first assumption is with the blood test, oh, well, you have diabetes, right? No. You know what I mean? Yes. Oh, well, high blood pressure? No, my pressure is fine. Didn't we just check it? Okay, well, and it's all these things.
Yeah.
It's always something.
Yeah.
So it's just,
and it's put on you.
I think it's hard because it's like, yes, we want to champion and have these people in place to speak up for us, but then it's like we also are fighting a pandemic on top of it. So it's like, which thing I feel like is going to take precedent?
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous right now.
Yeah. I think recording is a really good tool, and thank you for just
do it. And I have all Black doctors, all across the board, because I went through a medical thing last year, and I was like, I will never go through this again. And it took me 6 months to find Black doctors that were in my network. And I know even having health insurance is a privilege in itself. So shout out to SAG. Shout out to SAG, because I was out here with 0 insurance, literally drinking cod liver oil and praying for the best. Right. So, and getting Black doctors has literally changed. A therapist, OBGYN, primary care.
That's a database. You could start a database.
I will be needing the contact information of.
Yeah, I will.
I got you too.
Stress. Yeah. It's no stress now to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to stress out.
You can have a full conversation and not, because I have had the experience where someone would pander down language for me. And I was like, I am a classically trained actor. I got my master's in England. You do not need to dumb it down for me. So there'd be all these opportunities where I'm like, you can just talk to me like a human, but instead they would want to pander language, making assumptions. So yeah, both of us, all my physicians, therapists, all people of color.
I love that. We will definitely get that information out to people who want it. I heard the tone. Marking the end of our time together. Y'all better have your phone right on. It's like, it's time. We need a call. You said you'd be done at 6:50. It's 6:52.
And you know what? It was mine. It was my baby cousin trying to get help for an audition. Because she has a Zoom audition tomorrow with a casting director.
Oh my God.
Casting.
I love it. Auntie taking care of business. I love it. Okay, we want to support you. Tell us how we can support you. Go.
Follow us on Instagram at #booked.
Please.
Yes. Comment. We just came out with a game recently. Never Have I Ever Actors Edition. So go on ahead, play the game, get a little bit of joy during this crazy time, and have fun.
So much fun.
Excellent. And personally, it's at Body Courage. And LaNIsa, yours is L.A. _ Fred, which
Danielle's like, I told you to change it.
It's all right.
It's that underscore. That underscore is the killer. It's
I know.
The killer.
I'm so different.
And her name is available, which is crazy because my name is not available.
I know.
LaNIsa, get your name. Go ahead and claim it.
I will.
Because when y'all was just in, wasn't y'all just in Forbes or something? Somebody, okay, you're gonna need to have your shit.
Yes.
Your shit.
Go claim it before someone else takes it.
Right now, claim all of it.
I'm claiming it.
Because as soon as you get your blow up, it's gonna cost $8,000 to get your name.
Exactly.
It's so real. It's
Go
real.
Get it.
Very
Go get
true.
it. And Nikki Bailey is also an underscorer. And I KKI Bailey _. And we're at FATCH comedy. Fat plus sketch equals FATCH. FATCH comedy. And we have the Fat on Tuesday night. You guys are amazing. This has brought light to my week. thank you so much. All the blessings and the joy and the success. I know you will because of who you are. So next week we have an amazing guest back. Renee Cafaro, who is the U.S. editor of Slink magazine and is like nailing quarantine in New York like nobody else. I can't wait to show you all her outfits and food. She's cooking like a master chef as Disney princesses almost on a daily basis. So we'll be here next week at Plus This. Thanks so much.